Greetings, I am Aerial Flood Advisor and I'm doing something a little bit different this time. I'm playing Endless Space for one, and the other thing I'm doing differently is this is going to be a bit more tutorial-y than my other vids because Endless Space, kinda being an indie game, it lacks its own really good tutorial. It does have one, but it's mostly text-based and there's a lot of stuff that there seems to be a lot of community agreement doesn't hit on. There's lots of things that confused me when I started out. There's a lot of things I know confuse, like other people, friends, family, other players. So I'm gonna make this series hopefully clear up a lot of that stuff. So let's get started. First, you start with two ships. You can either select by clicking on the ships or this little icon here, which selects all of your idle ships. You start out with these two. You always start out with a scout, which will always be named something relating to scouting. Like this one's called the Investigator. So what we're going to do with him is we're going to click this. It lets him auto explore. This is okay for now. He's going to go to that white dwarf. Oh boy. Found some nice stuff. Now the stars mean there's a exploration event that you can find there, and you click on this icon. I got 20 dust from it. Pretty cool. The other ship you get is always a colony ship, and that's always going to be called something relating to making colonies or making babies. Like here we have the procreator. So for this guy, we want to either look for something our scout found that has a white planet. The white dot means we can colonize at this point. Or we look for a star that's called a sun of some kind. Blue sun, yellow sun. If you mouse over the star, it tells you what this is. As you can see, the yellow sun has the best chance of finding habitable planets. It's a sun just like what we have. The white sun less so. Blue sun less so. This is actually a really great start. So he's going to go over to Nerod because we've already found a planet we can use there. It's safe to go with what we know about. Now you might ask, well, why didn't you go towards the white sun here? It's closer. Well, you'll notice closely here, if you look, this is a different kind of path. These straight lines, these normal straight lines are called cosmic strings. You can only travel on these at the beginning, but there's a tech you can get which allows you to travel in wormholes. So we're going to click this second icon here, and we're going to go to that. Scrolling with your mouse wheel. If you hold shift, you can queue technologies. I definitely recommend that for Endless Space. It's a lot easier that way, or at least it is for me. Then you click on that. I like to get this for production. That lets me colonize arid planets. This lets me colonize tundra planets. This makes my ships move faster, and I can colonize Arctic planets. And then here's Applied Casimir Effect, one of the few technologies I know by name. This lets you do the whole wormhole thing. It also makes your people slightly less unhappy, but that's not quite such a big deal at this point. But that's important. I always like to get that as like one of the first things. So you can exit out by just right-clicking. Really handy with all the menus in this game. Next thing we're going to do, click on our system. This is our system. Pretty cool, pretty cool. We're going to click on the planet, and we're going to click an exploitation. Now, some people like to start out with food first, which is pretty good. But on a Terran planet, any tier 1 really, it's going to be producing a lot of food already. So I like to do the production one, or industry as it's called in the game. You'll notice like each color corresponds to a certain resource: food, industry, dust, science, or as the game calls them, vids. You can see how many vids your system's producing right here, and your planet's producing right here, and here's how much you could get per person if you were to colonize these planets, which we can't do yet. So let's go do that. Gonna also select the science building there, pretty handy, and that's all we can do this turn, so I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna keep going. Now I'm playing as a Sophon, so you get some pretty awesome science bonuses, and you can click this button to keep moving your ships around. Ooh, this is a really good system. Now this treasure icon and the yellow border around a planet, that means there's something cool there. This is a special wonder, as it's usually called. Yeah, endless wonder. These things we have to use really high-tech endgame resources to improve, but that's a pretty cool thing, so we're going to keep a note on that. Note there's a tundra planet here, so we'd be able to colonize eventually, arid as well. Now this is an exploration event. The exclamation point means it has choices. Personally, I like the science early on, so we're going to do that. Idle ship is a colony ship. This button lets you colonize. So there are some planets that have anomalies. The orange and red means it's this is kind of bad, this is pretty bad. Hostile fauna, that just makes my people slightly unhappy. Kind of sucks to be them. Go do production on this planet as well and also set that up. That's just saying, yay, you colonize a new planet. Now, as I was saying before, the Sophons, they're the science-based race. They're pretty good to start out with. There's my science boost. But as a result, they build things a bit more slowly, and they don't quite handle defense as nicely as some other races. Stars, no hero. More hero stuff, but I can choose a hero, so we're going to click this button here. Here's your heroes. This is how many you can have at this time. This amount can be expanded. The most you can have waiting in the wings is 3. To start out, you can mouse over these. I'll tell you roughly what it's for. This is good for food and industry, dust and science, and these are all like combat related things here, the commander icon. I'm going to start out with, let's go for you, the pilgrim lady. And I'm going to assign you, no, not to a fleet. I'm going to assign you to my home system here, which is the one with the most people. Commerce is good to start out with. I'll show you why later, because they have a, you get abilities as they level up, and they level up by doing stuff. Combat, or building things. And she will start out, you could get something on her pretty quickly that gives you a nice early game science boost. Ooh, that's a good one. And 20% on Empire for 10 turns, also pretty dang good. Gonna keep going to next turn. The Sophons are a pretty good race to start out as. I would recommend either them or the United Empire, who get very nice dust producing bonuses, go for the economy. Also, all their ships are named something that makes sense, so you'd be able to tell what everything is right off the bat. And other ones I'd recommend are the Amoeba for their trade routes. I'll discuss those in a little bit. They get a little bit funny. I'd also recommend the Pilgrims because they can have trade routes even while their systems are blockaded, which is really good. I'd also recommend the Horatio for their growth bonuses and their ability to clone heroes. Say you start out with a hero that was really good, you really like them, well, you can have more than one of them. Makes things really easy. The others are pretty good. Like the automatons are actually really good, but I would not recommend starting out with them because their bonus gets really complicated. I'll probably do a separate series based on just them to show how to effectively do it. What else is there? The Sheridan, their main thing is they can prevent fleets from retreating, but besides that, they aren't really that good. Ah, see? Our heroes leveled up, so let's go see what they're up to. This increases their wit, which is the dust and science thing, so that's good. That's also pretty good. Other races, let's see. The Sowers, now they're interesting. I actually started out with them, but they're a little bit complicated. For one, their big thing is they don't need food as much because they produce food with industry. Industry is kind of their food, but don't completely write off food buildings. They definitely need a little bit of those. And they can also colonize any planet they want to right from the start, which is pretty cool. The Hisho also have some nice bonuses, but they're very military based, and to make the best effect of them, you kind of have to do an early aggressive thing, and that's not really my playstyle. Okay, so I've explored all I can for now until I get applied Casimir effect, so he's going to park at my home system right next to the wormhole. The last two I have not mentioned yet are the Cravers and the Harmony. Definitely don't start out as the Cravers because they're always at permanent war. This is pretty bad. For one thing, when you start out meeting another race, you're at Cold War with them, and that's like the best the Cravers can get is Cold War. It's kind of a shame. Okay, gonna build a colony ship or two here. And then work on that. The other race, which is expansion exclusive, I am playing on Disharmony here, so I have the Harmony. They are also very complicated. They don't use dust at all. Which means no need for heroes, no need for happiness, but it gets really complicated and they're very weak early games, so I would not recommend them at all for a newbie. As you can see, apply Casimir effect is ready to go. Got some colony ships being built. Actually, I'm just going to do the one for now, I think. Now let's go for 2. Gonna keep accelerating through the turns. Just really need the one scout unless you're going for the achievements where you quickly scout everything. And he's going to park. This lets him intercept enemy fleets. If an enemy fleet comes in, they can't leave the system. Also, in the event that he was parked around an enemy system, he would create a blockade so no trade can go in and out, and any resources that are not in that system become inaccessible in that system. Okay, so here's the other level. Here's a cool thing they can get. 15% or just plus 15 science on the star system. Really good. As you can see, early game 29 science, that's a pretty big chunk of it. Nirod, you're good to go almost. You can do the Tundra planet. Let's go to the Tundra planet. Pretty cool. As you can see, we have a resource there. That's a strategic resource as indicated by the purple icon. It gives more industry per planet, per person per planet. Now, one thing with the colony ships I forgot to mention. You must have at least one person per planet on this. I mean, at least 2 people on one planet on the system to colonize. Say, I had 2 on this one on this one, I could make a colony ship. But if I only had 1 on this one and 1 on this one, no can do, no colony ship, because you have to have at least 1 on each planet. The reason for that is, one of these little population icons is going to get turned into the colony ship. This also goes for troop transports later on. In the game, as I'll show later on, they do eat up a person on the planet. Also for in-system colonizing, you can use a colony ship if you want, but that's unnecessary. You can just click on the planet like I did before and click that, and all is good, as long as you can colonize it with your current tech. Almost have applied Casimir effect, pretty great. Not much else going on. Early game, like most 4X, is pretty quiet for the most part. Aha, now he's in the system's hangar. To get there, you can either click this icon, this kind of H shape, which will pop up regardless of if there's a ship in orbit or not. Then you click on the hangar, click create, and now you've got your ship. He's going to go to Leo, because that's a pretty awesome looking system. Okay, almost have it. The wormhole will only take 1 turn to cross, but it will take the whole turn, no matter what. Applied Casimir effect, good, yep. Just confirming all this stuff's done. Gonna click on you, right click the system, and it's a very boring system, but it gave me a nice bonus, so that's good. Gonna set you up. Definitely industrial focus on the Tundra if you're not sure what to focus. Later in the game, if you mouse over each exploitation, it'll tell you what bonuses it gives per planet. Or you could just look at the planetary fid stings and see what it does the most. Whatever it does the most is what will benefit most from exploitation. Now, I'm actually going to skip that for now. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to click on this third icon here. This is your ship menu. You can mess around with your fleets. You can mess around with your ships. I'm going to click on the protector. That's the defense one. And you get a screen that looks like this. There's a bunch of neat stuff here, some of which is not unlocked yet. But for now, just load it up with guns. It's the best choice for now. You don't need to get too fancy. Protector 2, going to make 3 of those. Sounds good. That's right, I need new technology. The game will warn you about that at least, but it will not warn you if you're missing production in your systems. Okay, going to go for the food building. Going to go for the dust building. And going to go for relativistic economics. The only other one I really know by name, because it's important. You have to research in this game how to offer ceasefire agreements and peace agreements. So that's important to have early on, and then gonna get this because this is next tier science building, pretty handy. Let's see here. Already researched the food building, pretty good, pretty good. It's not available in the system yet. Okay, so I'm gonna go just keep exploring manually now, because otherwise he's gonna get himself into a big mess by flying into enemy territory. We don't want him to necessarily do that just yet. Now, that's gonna be handy in the end, as soon as I get the tech for it, which will be next turn. That's a luxury resource indicated by the white icon. As you can see, it makes my people happy. It also gives extra food and dust, so gonna go in, gonna do that. Going to do production and food before getting to science, because the science building is based heavily on population for its bonus. Gonna keep moving around.